Death Issues and Resources. Chapter 1. Death Topics. Before death. When sick or near death, do the following with the loved one. Find the right kind of care, either home care, hospital, nursing home, hospice, etc. Pay for it. Take tax deductions for care. Have the person make up a will, living will and advance funeral arrangements. Get a power of attorney if they have limited use of their faculties. Control pain, provide comfort. Determine whether they want to accept or refuse life-prolonging treatment. Don't live in denial about it. Talk to them if they want to. Fix up legal messes now, like send back a leased car, tell your heirs where your stuff is, what you'll leave them. Be wary of telemarketers and others preying on the elderly. Cancel magazine subscriptions, club memberships, etc. If an old wealthy man marries a young girl, it can be contested on the grounds of diminished mental capacity. Logistics of death. Some basic logistical points are: make funeral arrangements. Write an obituary for the newspaper in advance. Look at other obituaries to get ideas. Rather than merely inform people of his death, celebrate his life in it. Order several copies of the death certificate for insurance claims, probate, the will, etc. If your spouse died, either have most things set up in joint ownership, a trust, or have most of the estate resolved already. You can get most bank and investment accounts transferred directly to another person at death, provided you fill out the transfer form. Have a way to transport the body to the funeral home. If it's at the hospital, you'll have to sign a form to release it to the funeral home folks. Call family, friends, his doctor, and priest. Have a list ready. Pick somebody stable to do the calling, maybe not the spouse but an unemotional family friend, in order to keep emotions from getting out of hand. Take care of medical matters immediately. Return medical equipment to save on rental costs. Relieve home care workers of their duties. Stop community services like home-delivered meals or spiritual counseling. Cancel all upcoming medical appointments so as not to inconvenience ill people. Children are more aware than we give them credit for. Even at the age of 5, I perfectly understood my grandfather's death. Don't try to fake your kids out. Tell them the truth about Uncle Bill going to heaven. Let them see the body to say goodbye. If you were a caregiver, you might feel relief that it's finally over. Don't feel guilty. Just accept it and move on. Did they have organ donation arrangements? What about an autopsy or inquest? Get several copies of the death certificate for insurance, etc. Plan the funeral arrangements if not already done. Ship the body home if applicable. Look after decedent's pet and dependents. If you're the executor of the estate, pay the debts and taxes, then disperse the property among the heirs. Let a lawyer to go to probate court if the estate is large. Death abroad. If an American citizen dies anywhere out of the country, the death is usually reported to the nearest American consul/embassy. When they verify the death through checking the decedent's birth certificate, passport, etc., and getting a copy of the death certificate filed locally where the individual died, they will process Form of 180, Report of the Death of an American Citizen Abroad. This is then filed with the Department of State. If an American dies on the high seas, either in an airplane or ship, the death certificate is usually filed in the next place/port of call. Passport Services. Correspondence Branch. U.S. Department of State. Washington, D.C. 20522-1705. State.gov. For a fee, you can obtain Form of 180 of any American who died overseas. Chapter 2. Death-related issues. The Tibetan Books of the Dead/Buddhist Thoughts on Death. If you're interested in reincarnation and how the Buddhists treat death, I found several free ebooks on the internet called the Tibetan Books of the Dead and some that were about the Tibetan Books of the Dead. I found a free video on it. I think it was made by PBS, pbs.org. It's about the karma you create during your life, which determines what animal or human you come back as in reincarnation. Try BQ4490 or number 294.3423 at the library. Dying in your sleep. Death during sleep is quite common. As people grow older, they start to hope they'll die in their sleep to avoid the hassles of dying while conscious. We are all going to die. The most painless way to die is to do it while you sleep. Sudden infant death syndrome is when babies die in their sleep. There is no apparent cause of death. It is determined to be caused from sudden infant death syndrome or SIDS. When a person suffers from sleep apnea, he or she stops breathing then wakes up in time to resume breathing. Sometimes afflicted people don't wake up and die. They think sleep apnea is caused by loss of brain cells. When you're old, your body breaks down. Your heart could stop beating. If they tell you a young relative is brain dead, tell them not to unplug the machines. There was a Dr. Paul Byrne and Bernice Jones on a radio show saying that the transplant industry people are so greedy that they got people in hospitals looking to declare young people dead even when they're not, including babies, to get their body parts. Don't authorize any sudden death as a result of an accident or brain death. Ask to see the person. Wait at least a week. Many doctors are greedy liars. Autopsy for a suspicious death. If you suspect the death of a loved one during surgery or in the hospital is due to malpractice or negligence, get an autopsy done by an independent pathology lab other than where decedent currently is. 800 Autopsy, 1800AUTOPSY.com, will fly bodies in from almost anywhere and do an independent autopsy in Los Angeles, or perhaps go to where the body is and do the autopsy there. Coroners/medical examiners. Coroners, also known as medical examiners, do autopsies on dead people in the case of suspicious deaths, deaths where the medical cause of death is not evident, and deaths that are obviously criminal in order to find more information and evidence. If you feel there has been a suspicious death, either criminal or someone in the medical profession messed up, you can ask your local coroner to do an autopsy. National Association of Medical Examiners. 314-577-8298. Thename.org. Anchorage. 907-269-5090. Atlanta. 404-730-4400. Baltimore. 410-333-3226. Boston. 617-267-6767. Charlotte. 919-962-6263. Chicago. 312-666-0500. Cincinnati. 513-221-4524. Cleveland. 216-721-5610. Columbus. 614-462-5290. Dallas. 214-920-5900. Denver. 303-436-7711. Detroit. 810-469-5214. Honolulu. 808-527-6777. Houston. 713-796-9292. Kansas City. 913-299-1474. Las Vegas. 702-455-3210. Los Angeles. 323-343-0512. Miami. 305-545-2400. Milwaukee. 414-223-1200. Minneapolis. 612-347-2125. New Orleans. 504-524-6763. New York. 212-447-2034. Oakland. 510-268-7300. Philadelphia. 215-823-7457. Phoenix. 602-506-3030. 3322. Pittsburgh 412-350-4800. Portland 503-248-3746. St. Louis 314-622-4971. Salt Lake City 801-584-8435. San Antonio 210-615-2100. San Diego 858-694-2895. San Francisco 415-553-1694. San Jose 408-793-1900. Seattle 206-223-3232. Washington, D.C. 202-698-9000. Cryonics Info. Cryonics is the deal where you pay the following companies money. They freeze dry either your head or body at death with the delusion that at some point in the future when medical science has advanced to cure either aging or the disease you died from, they'll revive you, heal you, and you'll be all ready to go. Lest you think that it's all wishful thinking, the medical establishment currently does what they call suspended animation to remove aneurysms during brain surgery. They put the body on artificial lungs and heart, remove all the blood, fill the body with saline, then do the surgery. They can currently do this for 90 minutes with humans, 8 hours with dogs. For a fee, the cryonics companies will take a dead body, freeze it with the presumption that at some point in the future when medical science catches up, they'll revive you and bring you back to life. Once the prospect of molecular nanotechnology became a possible reality, a lot more people started considering cryonics. Most people pay for cryonics through a life insurance policy. The policy value generally needs to be $50,000 to $120,000 to cover the cost. Shortly after legal death, the body is infused with a cryoprotectant, a biological antifreeze. The process is known as vitrification. Straight freezing is rarely done. The entire vitrification process from legal death to liquid nitrogen temperature usually takes about 3 weeks. People who sign up for cryonic preservation wear a neck tag or bracelet that has the phone number of the cryonics organization and tells medical personnel what to do if the patient is legally dead before the cryonics people arrive. There is a large amount of paperwork required for signing up for cryonic suspension. AlexChew.com, Eternal Life Device. Cryonic-medical.com, French company. American Cryonics Society. AmericanCryonics.org. Alcor.org. 7895 East Acoma Drive. Scottsdale, Arizona 85260. 800-367-2228. Cryocare.org. 800 Top Care. Chapter 3. Death Resources. Death and Dying Books at the Library. Books about death are at number 128.5, number 155.937, number 170, number 174, number 301.428, number 306.87-90, number 393 and number 395, Funerals, number 616.89 or BD444, BF789. BJ 1581.2, GT1350, GT3150, and R726 at the library. Books about the religious aspects of death are at number 291.23 or BL504 at the library. There are books about widowhood are in the psychology section, number 155.93, in the sociology section, number 301, number 306.9 and at number 616.89. Books about grief are at number 155.937, BF575 or RC607, number 301.428, Widowhood, and there might be some Christian books at number 248.86 at the library. Legal books about death are at number 343. Try number 362.28 at the library for books on suicide or number 179.7 or R726 for books on assisted suicide. For books about terminal care and hospice care, refer to number 362.11 to number 362.196 or R726.8 at the library. Books about dying at home are at number 362.196 or R726 at the library. There are children's books at the library that deal with death. There might be some Christian books at number 248.86 at the library. Legal books about death are at number 343. Death websites 1. AdventuresUnlimitedPress.com, book Peaceful Passing, Die When You Choose with Dignity and Ease by Robert S. Wood. abcd-caring.org, Americans for Better Care of the Dying, Washington, D.C. AIDC.org, Association for Death Education and Counseling. AgingWithDignity.org. apa.org/pi/eol/arguments.html, assisted suicide. apa.org/pi/eol/facts.het1.pdf, fact sheet on end-of-life care practical advice from the APA. apa.org/pi/eol/fsculturallydiverse.pdf, culturally diverse communities and end-of-life care culture shapes choices for life support, e.g., resuscitation, feeding tubes. Karingianfo.org, National Consumer and Community Engagement Initiative to improve care at the end of life. Childgrief.org, Children's Grief Education Association. Choices.org, 800-989-9455, Choice in Dying. CompassionateFriends.org. CompassionIndying.org. Cremation.org. death-and-dying.org, Spiritual-Oriented Interpretation of Death and Dying. Deathcarelaw.com. death-dying.com. deathonline.net. deathreference.com, Encyclopedia of Death and Dying Articles. deathsucks.com. deathwithdignity.org. dyingwell.org, Resources for people facing life-limiting illness. ElizabethKubler-Ross.com. epec.net, Education in Palliative and End-of-Life Care. FinalThoughts.com. FindAGrave.com. GriefNet.org. GriefWorkSBC.com, Information and grief support resources. GrowthHouse.org, Guide to Death, Dying, Grief, Bereavement. HealthFinder.gov. HealthTouch.com/level1/leaflets/2629/2629.htm, hospice and death. Hemlock.org, 800-247-7421, Hemlock Society. HospiceFoundation.org. HospiceWorld.org, 800-331-1620. IPPCWeb.org, Initiative for Pediatric Palliative Care. JourneyOfHearts.org, Journey of Hearts. LastACTS.org, 800-844-7616. Legacy.com. Life7inghour.com. Death websites 2. verywell-health.com/end-of-life-40147330. mysticplanet.com/07link-a.htm #animal death, bardo.org, Bardo of Death Studies. hospicefoundation.org, Hospice Foundation of America. rights.org/deathnet/livesend, Lifesend Bookstore. nhpco.org, the National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization. npha.org, National Prison Hospice Association. zenhospice.org, Zen Hospice Project, San Francisco, California, USA. med.harvard.edu/publications/focus/may12_1995/on_becoming_doctor.html, dealing with death. med.nyu.edu/bibliographies/snacksy/brain-death, brain death. metterra-link.com, Unique Approach to Death. Mortology.org, Mortology, information about life, death, and beyond. nho.org, nhpco.org, hospice, palliative care. nlm.nih.gov/medlineplus/end-of-life-issues.html, end-of-life-issues from Medline Plus. npcrc.org, National Palliative Care Research Center. opn.com/willowgreen, how to deal with the death of a loved one. partnershipforcaring.org, 800-989-9455, tell your final intentions to those who matter. psychiatrictimes.com/p000945.html, helping children cope with death. sbcare.org, Spiritual Care Program. ssdi.genealogy.rootsweb.com, Social Security Death Index. virtual-memorials.com, Virtual Memorials. WhenDeathOccurs.com, Funeral Planning Book. Death Psychology websites. apa.org/topics/topicdeath.html. counselingresource.com/features/tag/death. deathreference.com/new-pu/psychology.html. findcounseling.com/help/news/tags/death. forgiving.net. guide to psychology.com/death.htm. iapsi.org, International Association of Applied Psychology. psychology.org/links/environment_behavior_relationships/death_and_dying. psychology.wiki.com/wiki/death. psychology-direct.com. psychologyforum.us/general-forum/neurological-and-psychological-death. psychology-help/c12-death.html. Explain Death to Children websites. kidshealth.org/parents/emotions/feelings/death.html, helping your child deal with death. hospicenet.org/html/talking.html, talking to children about death. family.samhsa.gov/talk/death.aspx, dealing with death. nncc.org/guidance/understand.death.html, learning to live through loss, helping children understand death. barharris.org, books for school and early elementary school children dealing with death. nasbonline.org/resources/crisis_safety/griefwar.pdf, helping children cope with loss, death, and grief. Death resources. American Association of Retired Persons. AARP Fulfillment. 601 E St. N.W. Washington, D.C. 20049. 202-872-4700. aarp.org. Free pamphlets, funeral goods and services, and prepaying your funeral. Also, service for widowed persons. Center for Attitudinal Healing. 33 Buchanan Drive, Sausalito, California 94965. 415-331-6161. cah@well.com. healingcenter.org. Support group for people with life-threatening illnesses and their families. Center for Biomedical Ethics. U of Minnesota. 3 to 110 Hour Hall, 33. Minneapolis, Minnesota 55455. 612-625-4917. umn.edu. Deals with moral questions regarding medical issues and death. Choice in Dying. 200 Varick St. 10th FL. NYC 10014. 212-366-5540. 800-989-9455. Choices.org. Free information about living wills. Compassionate Friends. First St. and Park Ave. POB 3696. Oak Brook, Illinois 60522. 630-990-0010. CompassionateFriends.com. Support group for parents of dead children. Hospice Education Institute. 5 Essex Square, Essex, Connecticut 06426. 800-331-1620. 203-767-1620. hospiceall@aol.com. hospiceworld.org. Make-A-Wish Foundation. 100 Clarendon, number 2200. Phoenix, Arizona 85013. 800-722-WISH. mafa@wish.org. wish.org. Make-A-Wish.org. For Sick Children. National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. 1604 North Country Club Road, Tucson, Arizona 85716. 520-881-4005. Fax 520-325-7925. nalaw.org. Lawyers specializing in elder affairs like estates, wills, etc. National Consumers League. 815 15th St. Northwest, number 928. Washington, D.C. 20005. 800-639-8140. nclnet.org. Consumer watchdog organization which processes complaints and offers pamphlets. Free booklet, A Consumer Guide to Hospice Care. National Council for the Right to Die. Choice in Dying. 200 Varick St. 10th FL. NYC 10014. 212-366-5540. 800-989-9455. Choices.org. Can help you set up a living will. National Hospice Organization. 1901 Northmore St. number 901. Arlington, Virginia 22209. 800-658-8898. 703-243-5900. nho.org. Care, Education, and Referrals. National Institute on Aging. Information Center. Building 31, number 5C27. 31, Center Drive. MSC 2292. Bethesda, Maryland 20892. 800-222-2225. 800-222-4225, TTY. Fax, 301-589-3014. NIA info@access.digex.net. nih.gov/NIA. Many free publications, over 60, things like exercise, cancer, life extension, etc. Ask for the publications list. National Victim Center. 307 West 7th St. number 1001. FT. Worth, Texas 76102. 817-877-3355. nvc.org. Resources about death. Right to Die Society, Canada. POB 39018. Victoria, BC V8V4X8. Rights at rights.org. rights.org/deathnet. Books about suicide. Well Spouse Foundation. 610 Lexington Avenue, number 208. NYC 10022. 800-838-0879. wellspouse.org. Support group for relatives of the terminally ill. Widowed Persons Service. American Association of Retired Persons. 1909 K St. NW. Washington, D.C. 20049. 202-728-4370. aarp.org. Helps widows.